All right, so let's see how we can test our Express app with unit testing, with Mocha, with Assert, and all kind of things. I've created a new file called hello test. It doesn't really contain anything. There are few packages that I installed, obviously Express, because we'll be using Express, and something called Supertest, which is going to allow you to invoke the Express routes or actions in your test. All right. Since we're testing our Express app, you also need to export the app so that it is available to the unit testing file, right? So we have done module.exports and exporting the app. And now we are ready to write our test. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do a constant request, and we're going to require the supertest. After that, we're going to use assert library. So we're going to require that also. This is used for assertions, meaning assert if it's true, false, equals, and all kind of things. And this is the app, which is basically our Express app. Once we have this, we can start creating our test. So we're testing this hello function over here, the hello route. If you go to /hello, it's going to return JSON where the key is hello and the value is world. All right, so that is all it is returning in JSON format, and that is what we are going to test. So let's go ahead and describe our test. Our test is when we go to hello, and this is just the name. I mean, this is whatever you want to give over here, be as descriptive as you like. Now we will describe the actual name of the test, what it does. Should return successfully. Function. Now this is a promise, so it's gonna we're gonna pass in done, and I'm going to show you later what that you need to end with the done request so that it can actually execute completely. Request the app. When we request the app, what happens then? Well, we go where? Well, we go to hello. What can we expect? Now this is the expectations. So these are the things that are important, because this is what you are saying, that this is what I expect. When I go to /hello, I expect a 200 status to be returned. And I also expect the content type to be application/JSON, where character set is UTF-8. I also expect, and this is where your logic comes in, I also expect the assertion to be equal when I look for the body and looking for the hello key, I should find the value world. And finally, don't forget to call and done. If you don't do that, it's not going to work. All right. So this is our test. This is the code that we have. Let's go ahead and run this test. So let's go over here and say npm test. And it ran the test. You can see over here that it actually ran the server for you, and it also ran the test, and it passed the test. It also ran the calculator test, which is there, and so it basically passed 2 tests. So that's the basics of testing an Express.js app. Let me give you another example. So let's say that in our app we have a function over here, tasks. So if I go to tasks, we're going to create an array. We're going to push 2 tasks, which is wash the dishes and clean the car, and we're simply going to return that to JSON, or convert it to JSON, return it. The key will be task, the value will be task. Now we need to write a test for that. So let me actually just copy paste the test over here. All right. So most of the things you will see that it's pretty much the same thing. We are requesting the app, we're going to the URL, which is task, we're expecting a 200, we're expecting the content type. But in the response, when we receive the response, we are expecting the response task to be an array with length greater than 0. Now, if I say greater than 5, that means that the task that I'm going to be returning from my app has to be greater than 5, basically 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, or so on. So let's go ahead and run this. And it actually failed the assertion that we have. All right. And I'm using assert.ok, which is basically just going to check for the true and false values. So I'm not really comparing any numbers. But if I say it's just going to be greater than 0, this is going to say that, this is going to check that, okay, just it's returning an array and that array contains some elements. That makes sense, right? So let's go ahead and run this. And now, basically it's returning an array, and that array or a list contains more than 0 elements. So our test passes. Really depends what you're checking. Maybe if you're checking for something special in the array, then most probably you're not going to be doing this. You'll be checking like using assert.equal, and you'll be checking for special things in the array. But right now, for this test, I'm simply saying when I go to task, it returns me a list with more than 0 items. And this simple test basically proves that or validates that. All right, that's pretty much it.